Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
Yes, it is, my friend. Even in the midst of COVID-19, the Lord has kept us, and it's good to be here.
Yeah, just when we thought we were out,
We're back in.
Omicron, I think they call it.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that things will work out with that. Nonetheless, we got some great sponsors.
We got some great sponsors with us today. You know, the usuals, but they're good people.
And a new one.
And a brand new one. Tamika and Associates Realty Group. And we also have Lavinia and Summers, our new sponsor, Home of Funerals, Marion County Public Health Department, Lee Castle and Crawley, Owls Mountain Clothes and Shoes, and His Place, and Fervent Prayer Christian Academy, and Northside Window, Gutter, and Cleaning. Those are our sponsors.
And we certainly thank God for each and every one of them.
Yeah, it make it possible for us to be here and to share communication with the community, and happy that they're with us.
And speaking of sharing, those of you who are watching, you can certainly go to WHMB TV 40 on YouTube. You can watch this show when it's over and get all the valuable information as well as shows that you might have missed. Also,
Like us on YouTube.
Facebook.
And Facebook.
Yeah.
We're right there to share with you. The very first show is on YouTube, and you can go to Facebook and pull up current shows and shows that we have seen.
And I want to encourage you to join Dr. Moore on the Morning Fellowship, 8 o'clock a.m.
Every morning, 8 o'clock a.m. On Facebook.
Around the gray table.
Around a great table.
Where there are no gray areas.
No gray areas.
We've got a great show. Our first guest coming up is an extraordinary young man who's working in the community. The Ross Foundation, D. Ross, is in the building, so you don't want to miss it. Tell all your friends. We got some messages. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, and we're joined by D. Ross, Ross Foundation.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Happy New Year to both of you all. I'm just glad to be here. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing good.
Doing pretty good.
How's the Ross Foundation with everything that's going on?
Yeah, COVID, kind of slowed things down for our organization, being a small grassroots organization, but everything been well. We still giving, still in the community, going door to door, especially during COVID. We have an outreach team that's going door to door and making sure we're meeting that need because it's a lack of resources and opportunities on the Far East side. And so it's important that we get out there and be intentional about meeting people where they are.
And what have you found in the feedback with regard to what the greatest need is?
Yeah, some of the greatest needs are, of course, employment. There's always been a gap out there in that community, but also food. If you don't know about the Far East side, we have one of the biggest food deserts in the Midwest. And so we just try to stand in that gap and advocate for those needs as much as possible, but also try to bridge that gap, try to provide those resources to them and stay in touch with them so we can know that we are fulfilling that need.
You said food,
Yeah.
jobs, eviction.
Yes.
How's it going on that side of town with evictions during the pandemic?
Yeah. Well, if you don't know, we're number one in the entire country in evictions filing. We just surpassed New York City. And we're not nearly the size of the population. But on the Far East side, it's unique. We have one of the highest rates of evictions in the entire state of Indiana. And it's being covered up. Housing is a big issue. If you think about the Far East side, Pastor, you know about this very well. It's a high concentration of Section 8 apartments out there. So we have the most apartment complexes in the entire state. They like back to back from Shaylin all the way back to German Church or Carroll Road. You can see nothing but apartment units, and they are dealing with a high level of being evicted. And it's not just because people are not paying their rent either.
Yeah. Tell us about the union the tenant union that you have out there.
Yeah, so, if you know about the Ross Foundation, we've been doing tenant advocacy since we started 7 years ago. But we wanted to get more organized, and we did some research and found that the state of Indiana doesn't have a tenant union. And so we wanted to create a tenant union. So we're the first tenant union in the state of Indiana, and where we are advocating at the State House. Just in a couple of weeks, we'll be at the State House for Tenants' Rights Day, January 20th, advocating for different legislation to be passed, advocating for like a eviction expungement program.
Right.
And so those type of things is necessary, but it just can't be the city of Indianapolis. And so we have set up tenant unions all across the state of Indiana so we can have a statewide movement and have everyone there from the rural and urban communities all linked arms.
That's good.
And certainly evictions, food insecurities affect mental health.
Yes.
And that's certainly something that you've been very concerned about. How is the Ross Foundation dealing with helping people with their mental health?
Yeah, so we're opening a community center in a few months, Easter weekend, and we're putting a mental health and trauma clinic inside of there. We have one of the highest rates of mental health, and especially in Black and Brown communities. Since COVID, it has skyrocketed. And so it's important that we be intentional about addressing that, because we're already talking about violence in our communities, like gun violence, domestic violence. I mean, we have to talk about the root causes, and mental health is an issue that's never addressed. And it's important that we have people that look like us addressing those issues.
Yeah. I see one issue that that might be troubling to some is the collaboration between mature leaders and younger leaders.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot of that lately, and I happen to be. I don't consider myself an older leader.
Just a mature leader.
Just a mature leader, right? Give me some insight on what do you see, what does your lens say about that?
Yeah, I mean, me being a younger leader, mature leader, it's a gap that we should continue to strive in bridging, where we are learning from. We got to be open to learning and listening as well, but older elders have to be open to learning and listening as well. And so, I just think everyone can learn from each other. And it doesn't have to be so much division between the age groups, because we need each other in this, especially with COVID going on and all the injustices that's happening across America. We have to stand together. And so we have to learn from each other, but I think it's a lot of mistakes that we are making now that you guys already have made that we can learn from, and how we could adapt and be more innovative moving forward to the next generation. And so we could pass a torch and teach them from the mistakes, how to maneuver some of the mistakes they may arrive against. And so I think it's important having that relationship more than ever.
We got a couple of minutes left. D. Ross, what would you like to see 2022, 2023, and based on what we've talked about here, what would you like to see going into the next 24 months?
Yeah, I would like to see more unity. It doesn't matter. We need to put the politics to the side. If we look like each other, we need to be working together. And because it doesn't matter where your pay rate, your socioeconomic status is, or your religious beliefs. No, if you care about saving Black lives, then we need to be working together. And so it's time to put all the silos to the side and let's work together, man, because our community is suffering for us being divided.
And for those folks who might want to support the Ross Foundation, how can they do that?
Yeah, so you could go to our website, trfcommunity.org, on social media outlets, the Ross Foundation. You can look us up, or you just follow me on all social media outlets at D Ross, DEEROSS, and by also email the Ross Foundation at outlook.com.
And that information is on the screen for those of you who want to do that in about a minute or so. Our time will be up. You've got an event coming up.
Yeah.
We want to kind of Talk about that again real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. So January 20th, we're asking if you're a tenant, if you're a citizen in the state of Indiana, it's important that you be here because it's time. Evictions is a problem in our state, and it's time for our tenants to take leadership. It's usually stakeholders leading these type of advocacy opportunities, but it's time for the residents to come together and mobilize and say enough is enough.
You've been a great guest.
Yes.
We look forward to having you back.
All right.
Yeah. And thank you all for joining us. We've got more to come. We'll be back after these messages. Well, welcome back, and we are joined by Donnell Howard, Pastor Donnell Howard,
Glad to be here.
right here in Indianapolis.
The Hovey Church,
Yeah.
Church,
Yeah, good to have
Hovey
you.
Street Church.
Good to be here, man. Good to be here among you guys. Glad to be on this show this time.
Thank you. We want to maximize our time.
Okay.
One of the things that you're doing, among many things, is the Evolve program.
Yes, sir.
So talk to us about that.
Well, Evolve is our nonprofit, of course, where we do mentoring. Right now, we're in the midst of redeveloping and School 11. So we're redeveloping School 11 to utilize it as the Evolve Education Center. So we're going to do mentoring out of there, programming, partnerships with people. So that's where we're at right now as we go into 2022, as we're dealing with 2022. We're trying to develop our center.
Yeah, that's going to be a long haul, isn't it?
Yes, yes. I anticipate it being a long stretch to get the whole, because it's 40,000 square feet, and you're talking about 6.9 acres of land. So it's a lot of property and a lot of building to get rehabbed and repurposed also. So because each room will have its own purpose, and so all of that stuff.
Give us some insight on what you plan to put in there in partnership and activities to develop mentorships there.
Okay, absolutely. Well, for one of our biggest projects that I'm really excited about is our Plant to Plate project, which we're partnering with From the Ground Up. It's an organization that we're partnering with that will be able to show kids how to take food, vegetables and stuff from the ground to the kitchen. And so our goal is to, once you plant it, once it grows, then you can pull it up and come and plate it in our kitchen. So we have a Confidence Meals kitchen that you'll be able to come in and watch chefs and parents prepare meals, how to stretch a meal, how to make a meal. You know, I'm from Mississippi. You know, I can eat beans 2-3 days. You know, but how to stretch a meal, how to make a healthy meal from the stuff that you grew in the ground. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
great. And you're going to teach the trades too, I'm hearing.
Yes, yes. We have a room that we're dedicating to trades, plumbing, pipe fitting, carpentry, all of those things. And we will have, again, certified people come in and teach so that those who take those courses and trainings can come out with certifications, not just people just talking about it. People need to be certified.
And job placement.
So they can come out and get jobs, man. And so we're working on some partnerships with that, how that looks and you know, how to maximize people's time and energy. We don't just want to waste your time, have you in here. When you get done, we want you to be able to walk into a career.
Yeah.
What precipitated this whole vision for Evolve?
Necessity, a desire to want to do more, I mean, like you guys do here, you know, you're already pastors. I mean, you don't need a platform, but then here's a platform for you to share a broader message. So the same way when we were doing the mentoring, we just felt like there was a broader thing we needed to do also, make our city a better place, to have a place where we can offer barbering and beautician and all these things, but then at the same time offer mental health services. And if you're there getting mental health services, then your little brother can go in the gym and play ball while he's playing ball. Sort of a one-stop shop where we can service our people in just one location. So that's, we
I think
needed
it's going to
that.
be important too to understand that it's going to cost dollars to do this,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and not only dollars to do it, but dollars to sustain it.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be a monumental task. And let me encourage you by saying I remember early on
Yes, sir.
when you didn't have the building,
Yes, sir.
which people anticipated that wouldn't happen.
Yes, sir.
Now you have the building. So now I am anticipating the dollars to come to put this into fruition,
Yes, sir.
to reach this blighted area. This is a blighted area.
Yes, it is, and that's part of the challenge is, and you guys know this as leaders and visionaries. When you see it, and you're saying this can get done here, people all they see is the blight, and you're like, no, you got to see what it can be. It's the same thing Nehemiah had to do. You had to go back and touch the wall and say, this can be great. And so people did initially, they didn't quite see it, and I get it. But we have moved past that, and you were one of the people that were like, hey, listen, you can do this, keep pushing. I remember when you guys, volunteered your services, and so this is exciting for us at so many levels, the change that we can make. So we're going to need the funding, as continued funding. We are putting together, and we have worked on a sustainability project, a sustainability program. So how do we become self-sustainable is important for us, because we do not want to be a center that's consistently relying on someone else to fund us. So we're working on that project. So we believe that we can get there within the next 2 to 3 years, where we're completely sustainable.
Did you plan on creating a
self-sustainable.
foundation for that particular?
I recall you talking about that before, and certain people talking about the importance of foundations. So, like you guys had D. Ross on here. D. Ross has foundations. So I think we're just letting those who are good in that area do that.
Yeah.
And we'll just work in the lane. I'm big on working in your lane. You
Yeah.
know, I don't want to get outside my lane. Yeah.
And you do a good job at it so
I try
far. I'm
to,
telling
man.
you, yeah.
I try to stay in my lane.
Yeah,
Man.
you do a good job with it so
Thank
far.
you, sir.
How critically important is this project or this effort, I should say, to the area that you're serving?
So if you look in that area, in the 46205, in that area, it's a mixed area, because right across the street from us, you have a mixture of Latino and African Americans living on that street. But then directly down the street, you have the Georgetown Apartments. If you go beyond 42nd Street, you can walk over into the Meadows. And then beyond that, you have the Y. And you get up on 38th Street, you got, the bank, you got the grocery store, you got all these things happening. And then a little north and behind you, you got beautiful homes of people who've lived there for years and years, and homeowners. So it's critical in the sense that it blends all of that together as best as it can. It allows space for those who need services and those who can give services. So, and it also, one of my neighbors across the street simply said, I asked her, what does she want to see happen? She said, cut the lights on. She said, I have the meadows behind me and darkness in front of me. So if we do nothing more than turn the lights on, then we've helped, bring some life to that area. But we want to be able to take those who need resources and work with those who have resources to make it happen.
And by that, you mean the street lights?
No, she was talking about the building. I mean, if you ever traveled through there historically, you could see nothing but darkness over there. And if you got the meadows, of course, we know about the meadows. You have the meadows behind you and complete darkness in front of you. You just like to see lights on the building on. Yeah. So again, but the impact that it has and is having, I mean, we have a lot of community support. Before we even started, we walked through the community and talked to the community about what they wanted to see in the building, because we didn't want to duplicate what was already happening. You do have the Y around the corner. The Y is doing some great work around the corner. You have Bishop Golders around near in that area. He's doing work over there in that area. So you didn't want to duplicate what was already taking place. So we asked the community what did they want to see in there. So that made us say, okay, these things need to go in here, irregardless of what we want to see go in there. This is what needs to go in here.
Community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, and of course, in camera 3 there, if there are people who want to write that $5 million check, how do they support you?
Hey man, do what Jackson says, man. Write the $5 million. No, but you can get with us through our Givelify. You can contact me personally, 317-515-2493. You can email me, evolve.leaders.el@gmail.com, evolve.leaders.el@gmail.com. We have our board. You can get in touch with them. There's so many ways, man. And just pull up on us, come outside, pull up on us. You'll see us out there trying to do something.
All right, you've been a great guest.
Yeah, man. I'm on a great show. Y'all make sure y'all tell people to check out this show, man. Two of the coolest pastors in the city.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And you look extremely healthy and well.
We'll be back with the rundown. Welcome back. I'm James Jackson.
Pastor Wayne Moore.
And Curtis Baker, your producer of Real People, Real Voices. Great show today.
And it was a great show, and we've got some great sponsors. If you could give us the rundown on that.
But before I do that, I do want to say I just want to say thank you for the guests, because I know I'll forget to do that a lot of times. So I want to say thank you for Pastor Howard, and thank you for D. Ross for being our guest today. And our sponsors, Tamiko and Associates, Lavinia and Summers, one of our new sponsors, Marion County Public Health Department, Lee Castle and Crowley. Pastor Morgan had me cracking up over here. Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes, Northside Window and Gutter and Cleaning, and Ferber Care Christian Academy and His Place Eatery. You check me there on Fridays. The fish is marvelous.
It is.
Yeah.
I think that these two advocates in the community are doing an outstanding job with the limited resources that they have. And I think that when we look at Mr. D. Ross and we look at Pastor Donnell Howard, Evolve, D. Ross Foundation, they're not letting the limited resources keep them from doing the work.
Yeah, that's extraordinary.
Yeah. And, in this particular city, it seems like those who don't do the work effectively seem to get the dollars, and those who are doing it effectively don't get the money at all.
I want to say I'm really excited about the Evolve program coming to School 11. As a child, going to school on the bus, we would pass that school every year. It was a very, very vital place.
Yeah.
If you go by there now, you see that it's kind of not there, but to bring life into that community and bring it to that school is great. I can't wait to see what they do with that.
Yeah, a lot of great things coming in this new year, and thank you for coming and joining us today. We'll see you next time.